Yes, it is me. So I was contemplating whether or not I should do one last crime and conviction before 2021. And you know, I was gonna not do it, but then I was like, nah, I need to give my crime and conviction peeps one last video. I at least owe them that. If you guys have not watched the video that I posted on Saturday, I recommend you guys go and watch that, because y'all will know what I was going through and where I've been. Like, y'all will have a better understanding and like not want to cuss me out immediately for just take out myself and just disappear for a few weeks. All right, so I just wanted to come on here, do a story, like a thank you and goodbye 2020. Today we're going to talk about Germaine Maurice Lindsay. Now this story, some of the sources kind of are all over the place, so I did try my best to compile information that's similar, and we're just gonna get right into it, and I hope you guys enjoy it. All right. Germaine Maurice Lindsay was born on September 23rd, 1985. As I said before, it's kind of difficult to get all of the facts straight based on these sources, but depending on where you read, he was either born in Mandeville or Waterford. Germaine didn't have a connection with his biological father because shortly after he was born, his father left his mother. At either 5 months or 5 years old, again, it depends on where you read, Germaine, his mother Miriam, and his stepfather Barry left the island for Britain. So the three of them were living good in Britain. They were a nice little family. Miriam became a police officer. I'm not quite sure what Barry was doing. And the union brought forth a little girl. Unfortunately, when the daughter was 4, Miriam and Barry, they split up, and Barry took his daughter with him. So now it was just Germaine and Miriam, his mother, living together. Miriam then found another partner. I'm not quite sure the time span when she found him or whatever, and this union produced another daughter. Growing up, Germaine attended a church school up there in Britain. He was described as a very nice person. He got good grades and he also played sports. At the age of 15, Germaine then converted to Islam. Now, right here is another point of contention, because some sources say that Germaine converted and then he convinced his mother to convert, and other sources say that she converted and then she, obviously being the mother, allowed her son to convert. But based on how they described him and how he was rooted in his faith, I think that it might have been possible that he converted first, and because he was very close with his mother, he then convinced her to convert. I don't know, that's just my speculation. And because it's a household, his younger sister that was living with them converted as well. Germaine then changed his name to Abdullah Shahid Jamal, but for the purpose of this video, I will continue to call him Germaine. Not to disrespect him or anything, it's just that I already started the video calling him Germaine, so it would just be easier for all of you guys if I just continued to call him Germaine. So because of his religion, Germaine grew a beard, which in my opinion made him look way older than he actually was. He swapped his jeans for Muslim dress, Muslim attire. He asked for permission to pray at school. If you guys have ever studied Islam, you'd know how the prayer schedule goes. And he was really serious about his religion. He was really invested, and his friends even said that his religious intensity was hard to ignore. He was always a happy-go-lucky person. He was always smiling and telling jokes. However, his friends said after his conversion, he changed. His personality changed. He stopped listening to music. He dropped some of his old friends, and sometimes he would be in class or in the classroom listening to Islamic tapes on his personal stereo system, like the little, I don't remember what they're called, but you know, they didn't have phones at this point in time, so he would have his little stereo where he puts his little tape in, and that would be him in the classroom. He also tried to convert some of his schoolmates and some of his friends. That's why he dropped them, and he got into confrontations because of this. However, these confrontations were never physical. It was like verbal confrontations, but they were pretty nasty. He simply was really passionate about his religion, and he wanted to pass it on to other people. And I don't know about you, but I've met some persons in my life that are really passionate about their religion, and they try to convert you, and it just comes off as annoying. Yes, you love your religion, but I also have my beliefs. I respect your religion, respect mine as well. Come on. It's even said that he told a teacher that he really wanted to join the British Army so he could kill some of his fellow soldiers. However, this can't be proven. So it can't be confirmed nor denied that he actually told this teacher this. You know how the media works. They paint a bad light on someone after the fact, but we will get to the fact soon and soon enough. You know, after his conversion and he dropped some of his friends and he stopped listening to music and stuff like that, he was mainly focused on his religion, and as it relates to school, he was really focused on his athletics and academics. When other kids would write like a simple paragraph for a history essay, Germaine would lay out his arguments page after page after page. In athletics, he was equally brilliant. He would break records like crazy, and no matter what his achievement was, whether it was academics or athletics, he would give thanks by shouting Allah Akbar, which means God is great. Not much is known about his home life other than the fact that he lived with his mother and his younger sister. His other sister wasn't even mentioned much, which is the sister by Barry's daughter, that did not live with them. So don't know what happened to her, if they were in contact or anything. But yeah, don't know what kind of life he was living at home. Germaine planned to become a solicitor. Now, this is someone that works in law but outside of the court. They would advise their clients and draft legal documents, among other stuff. He graduated high school and he had exceptionally high grades, so he applied for college, and because of his grades, he was sure to get in, but unfortunately his application was lost in the mail, and by the time Germaine reapplied, the school was already full. Now in 2002, Germaine's mother Miriam, she got remarried and she planned to move to the US. Now she was going to take Germaine, but Germaine insisted that London was the only place that he knew and London was his home, so she left him behind. His mother's justification for this was that he had become such a responsible child that it was okay. A probation officer that attended the same mosque as Germaine and his family actually said that he would keep an eye on Germaine, and he helped him to get a house. So they rented a little apartment, and then Germaine said that he wanted to get a job before reapplying for university the next semester. He was able to claim government benefits, and of course his mother helped him out financially. She would call him once or twice a week, and she would visit every year. Shortly after his mother moved to the US with his sister, I'm not even sure if she moved with his sister because the reports didn't say, but let's just hope she did. He got into a relationship with Samantha Lethwaite. I think that's the right way to say it. So it's Samantha Lethwaite. Alright. She was white, converted to Islam when she was 15, and it said that they met in a chat room. They exchanged a ton of emails. They started dating before meeting face to face, and when they did get the chance to meet face to face, they got married against her parents' wishes, but they never registered the marriage, so technically it's not legal. Their wedding was in October 2002 in a small, intimate religious ceremony. So they're married, they're living together, and in April 2004, they had a son. During this time, Germaine was still collecting benefits. He also worked part-time as a carpet fitter, and to, get more money, he would sell phone cases. I don't think it was actual phone cases. I think it's the things that, you clip on your waist, based on the era, Life seemed great for Germaine. It seemed great for the couple. They would worship, go to the mosque. He was really helpful. He would help others out, especially with pronunciation, because, it's not English, so you gotta get them words right. It's said that everyone who knew him by his voice. He was described as really cheery and really helpful. On July 7th, 2005, Germaine left his 7-month pregnant wife at home to go on the road, but unfortunately, Germaine never returned. At 8:50 a.m. on that same day in London, 3 separate suicide bombings occurred. And at 9:47, almost an hour after these 3 suicide bombings took place, a 4th bomb went off. These 4 explosions collectively killed 56 people, including the suicide bombers. 5 days later, on July 12th, a vehicle was found with dozens of unexploded bombs, and when they traced this vehicle, it belonged to Germaine. If you're following the story up until this point, you would have already figured out that one of those 4 suicide bombers happened to be Germaine Lindsay. At age 19, Germaine Lindsay killed 27 people, including himself. Germaine was not a troublemaker. He had no police record. So this came as a shock to everybody. It came as a shock to his friends, his family, his church, his pregnant wife. Now, not only were they shocked, but they were confused, because what led up to this? I have to give it like I get it, and this case is a bit frustrating to me because there's no clear indication or motive of why he did this. In other cases like this person would leave like a note, or they would have some form of motivation behind it. There's none of that. There's no memoir, there's no journal, there's no diary, there's no internet chat room, there's no letter sent to the police or letter left to his wife. There's nothing. Anyways, let us get into it. In the months leading up to the bombings, Germaine got acquainted with a biochemist, Dr. Nashar, who got him an apartment in Leeds, and this apartment was said to be the bomb-making factory. Germaine was also buying a large quantity of perfumes, which was used in the bomb-making process, because when they tested these bombs, they had a large amount of alcohol in them. Now, during this time, Germaine's wife, Samantha, said that they were having a bit of problems, and she was very vocal about this to his mother. He had recently lost his job. He was very frustrated, and she thought that he was having an affair. Because she thought he was having an affair, when he left home on July 7th and didn't return, she did not report him to the police because she thought that he simply ran off with another woman. After everything came to light, she came to the conclusion that he wasn't texting another woman, but he was probably planning the attacks but using code. We'll get back to Samantha in a second. So on the day of the attack, Germaine met up with the 3 bombers. They actually traveled to where he was. The police think that there is some significance in that, and maybe he was a mastermind. And then again, all of the bombs were in his car. Not much is known on how he met the other 3 bombers. Different articles say different things. Some articles even contradicted themselves, which was so frustrating. But I will be leaving a link in my description box to an article that actually breaks down the timeline, and it shows what articles said what and the contradictions and everything. So that article was very helpful, even though the information is still all over the place. So his relationship with these men, it's very unclear. It's even unclear how he met them. But moving on, after the bombings and these men were identified, they took Germaine's wife and his son into police custody. And thank goodness that they did that, because their house that they were living in was actually burned down. Persons were charged. I think 2 teens were charged for this arson attack. But yeah, that's crazy. So 7-month pregnant Samantha in police custody said that she did not know anything about the bombings, and of course she was in denial. And she said without DNA she would not believe that this was Germaine. His mother, who was now staying in Grenada, said that she was fearful of reprisal from the people in London. So, you know, she was essentially hiding out there. She was also in denial, and she said that she would not believe that Germaine did that, especially after what happened on 9/11. Both of them cried, physically cried. They could not believe that Muslims did that, and she just could not believe that her son would cause this much pain for other people. She said that Germaine was the best son that a mother could hope for, but she has many questions, and maybe they will never get answered, or they will get answered one day from Allah. His half-sister spoke as well, not quite sure where she was living or what she was doing. More than likely she was still living with their mother, but she said that she also needs proof, and even if he did it, her love for him would not change. A few months passed, and in his wife's last interview to the press while she was holding her newborn baby, she said, and I quote, "I could never comprehend, because he was always a peaceful man who loved people. He was so angry when he saw Muslims being killed on the streets of Iraq, Pakistan, and Israel, and always said it was the innocent who suffered." Other than the persons that were killed that day, which was 56, over 700 people were injured, and that event is known as the 7/7 bombings. In September 2005, about a month and a half after the incident, Samantha sold her story where she portrayed herself as a victim and got criticized for it, especially because there were conflicting statements refuted by his family. Samantha was paid £30,000 for her story. Today, Samantha is known as one of the most wanted terrorist suspects. After the bombings and everything that happened in London, she disappeared with her kids and is said to be in Kenya, and she's also believed to be involved with multiple bombings that took place in Nairobi. Samantha is now known as the White Widow. So that is Germaine's story, which leaves us with many questions. At least it leaves me with many questions, like why did he do it? And the most important question for me is, did his wife really have nothing to do with it? Because based on her current situation, was she really an innocent bystander? Unlike other cases where the main character would leave some form of clue, some form of something, some evidence on why he did it, Germaine left nothing. And it's very strange that the house burned down, because was there evidence that was in the house? Like, was there information on the computers or books and writings that just happened to burn down? Like, did the two kids really take it upon themselves to burn down the house, or was it like a paid type of thing? Did Samantha pay them to burn down the house? Like, was this a planned thing? It leaves me with a whole lot of questions, and I'm really curious as to Samantha's involvement in this whole thing. Like, in the grand scheme of things, especially now, based on her situation, like, I don't think she was that innocent, but I don't know the role that she played. Maybe one day when they get a hold of her, the truth will be revealed, or maybe the kids will come forward eventually and we will get our answers. But until then, another crime without a conviction. I would really want to know what's going on in Germaine's head. I really want to know what Samantha knows. You know, just, it frustrates me. It really frustrates me. Like, isn't the whole purpose of you doing this to send a message? What was the message? What was the purpose? What was the goal? What was the end game? It's like so confusing. At this point in time, we're just left to speculate, and the case is all over the place, and the sources, they're all over the place. But yeah, at the end of the day, I just think that this woman knows more than she actually let on, and the truth will come out eventually. Like, maybe it will come out with the children, or maybe the children are brainwashed, and I don't know. Like, I really don't know. So those were my thoughts, and that was the case, and this ends the last crime and conviction for the year 2020. Now guys, I want to thank you so much for joining me on this journey, and I will see you guys in 2021. So yeah, let's just get excited, and I just can't wait to see you guys in the new year. All right, so remember to be a beautiful soul, not just a gorgeous face, and until next Monday, bye. December 2005, about